Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are here to talk about my Q1 stats. So this is gonna hopefully be a new thing on my channel where I talk about the 3 months worth of stats every quarter. That's how quarters work. And then I give you my top 5 for the 3 months. So let's get into it. If you like pie charts, let's go. From January, February, and March, I read a total of 58 books and a total of 19,645 pages. In January, I read 15 books and read 5,438 pages. In February, I read 17 books, which totaled a number of 5,931 pages. And in March, I read a total of 26 books, which totaled 8,279 pages. Genre breakdown was I read 2 horror, 5 mystery, 25 romances, 1 comic, 10 manga, 2 thrillers, and 11 fantasies. I listened to 7 audiobooks, read 17 books physically, read 32 ebooks, and 2 mixed media books. My age range was 36.2% YA, 10.3% new adult, and 51.7% adult. I owned 31% of the books that I read and borrowed 69%. 5 of them were rereads, and 53% of them were new. 74.1% of them were part of a series, which makes sense because I read a lot of romances that are part of a series, and 25.9% were standalones. So the length is all over the place. I read 4 100 to 150 page books, 11 150 to 200 page books, 5 250 to 300 page books, 8 300 to 350 page books, 11 350 to 400 page books, 3 400 to 450 page books, 4 500 to 550, 1 650 to 700, 1 1,000 plus, and that is the page breakdown for what I read. So as you can see, the 3 months were pretty varied. In the month of March, I definitely read the most pages and the most books for multiple reasons. The most pages is because in March I read Olympus, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. And I also read a lot of novellas. As a total, I am not complaining about my quarter. In the month felt like I wasn't reading a whole lot, but it actually turned out pretty well. So my top 5, my first up, these are in no particular order, is going to be Chain of Iron. This is the 2nd book in the Last Hours trilogy by Cassandra Clare, her newest trilogy. I absolutely adore this. I gave it 5 stars. Cassandra Clare does a lot of things very well. One of them is that she gives you very tender moments while you know that you are about to be in for a lot of pain, so you know to hold on to those tender moments. In addition to that, she weaves character development and plot so well together because, I mean, let's be honest, we read Shadowhunter books for the characters, but she keeps enough plot in there that the story doesn't feel long or drawn out, even though they're hundreds and hundreds of pages long. So she's just fantastic. Next up was Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is the story of a young woman named Enchanted who is about 17, who participates in a singing competition where she meets Corey Fields, who is a 30-year-old very popular R&B artist, and he grooms and takes advantage of her, escalating into abuse. And she kind of has to sustain that, and that's what this story is about. I also gave this 5 stars. Tiffany D. Jackson is so good at handling very, very hard topics in a very respectful and impactful way. She is very intentional with everything that she writes, and everything also has this sliver of hope through it where it feels genuine and it feels like this person is real and everything is not all doom and gloom, which I think speaks to the humanity and what makes us relate or feel for the characters so much. And then next up, I really loved Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. This is a prequel to The Hate U Give, and it follows Star's dad, Mav, when he was 17 and he finds out that he is going to be a father, and the mother of that son ends up leaving the baby with him. So he is left to fend for the care of himself and his baby with the assistance of his grandmother or with his mother. And yeah, it was fantastic. Again, 5 stars. Angie Thomas is just a master at her craft. This has a very different flow than The Hate You Give. The Hate You Give had a very linear plot, whereas this one was kind of like a meandering plot following this guy's life, or this young man's life, and it just was fantastic. It tackles a lot of things. It tackles gang affiliation, it tackles the cycles of violence, just the like stereotypes we put on men, the ways we tell them to deal with their emotions, and just a bunch of different things, and it was fantastic. So then, my most fun read, I loved this entire series, and it is Hate by Tate James. This is the most fanficky, fun reverse harem series I've ever read. If you are looking for a great time, this is definitely it. It follows a girl named Madison Kate who ends up getting framed for a crime that she obviously didn't commit because she was framed. She has to come back and live with the guys that she thinks framed her, and it is fantastic. It is so well written. The guys are each have their own like influence on her life, and then you can understand why she is with each of them respectively, and there's so many twists and turns and you never know what's going to happen, and those cliffhangers. It's so fun, and I would highly recommend if you're looking for a good time. They're on KU if you have KU. And then lastly, next up is actually a webcomic. It's Lore Olympus. This on Goodreads shows over 1,000 pages, which is why my March stats is so heavy page count wise, but it is so freaking good. It follows Hades and Persephone, and in this particular world, Olympus is very modern, whereas, you know, the real world is very not modern. They don't have technology and things like that, and it is so stinking good. The individual like characters are fantastic. Hades is like this nerdy guy who everyone thinks is like this big bad, and on the inside he's just like this anxious little ball of energy. Persephone is so sweet and cute, and she like has some low-key things going on with her through the whole thing that kind of like brings this air of mystery, but together them as a couple is so sweet. I will say that there is a lot of trigger warnings in this, to name a few: rape, domestic abuse, things like that. The author does a fantastic job of including trigger warnings before each panel, so that if you are going to read, you have that information going in, but definitely look it up if you're interested. But it was so freaking good. I gave Hate 3 stars because objectively, like, it's 3 stars, but I gave the other 4 5 stars. Lore Olympus, fantastic. Hate, so fun. Concrete Rose and Grown, important, fantastic reads, and Chain of Iron, just perfection. Cannot wait to continue. That is how my last quarter went. Comment your thoughts down below on any of the stats that I provided, how I did in the 3 months, how you did in the 3 months. Let me know if you like this kind of video. Some people love numbers, some people don't. But other than that, I will catch you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching.